Hello, this is Jordi from Dapcom, and in this video I will show you how to use the command line interface of FAPEC, the professional data compression software that we provide. You just need to download the installer for your architecture, either Windows, Linux for Intel or ARM, Mac for Intel or Apple Silicon, or maybe other architectures such as PowerPC, for which you need to contact us. Once you have downloaded that and installed it, which is a slightly different process for Windows or for the others, you should be able to open any shell and type FAPEC, which will show you the basic command line help to run the compressor. Here you can see that it's properly registered. You should have set up the FAPEC license beforehand, otherwise you will just be able to run on FAPEC, which can be run for free without any kind of license. And then what is important is that you may have seen here some strange warning, which comes from this configuration file that I have mentioned in the previous video. It is a default settings file for the command line, and also for some options for the standard automatic option of WinFAPEC. And this is available in the same folder in the FAPEC home folder where you have the FAPEC license. There you can see this kind of more or less standard configuration aspect of a configuration file with different sections and different options. All of these options that you can see here can be understood when you compare them with those from the command line help, especially with you type FAPEC/H for the help, and you will see the advanced option for the several algorithms that we support. Just have a look at them. It is, we think, quite well explained. And with this, you should know how to configure, in your case, in Linux or Mac especially, the several options that you want to use by default. One important remark here, especially for Windows users, and especially for Kongsberg SIS users. The options that you have here are those that will be used when you do, for example, FAPEC one file name, which is the standard way to run this. Here you will see the process, the progress of the program when executing the compression on a given file. And this same approach is the one that is invoked from Kongsberg SIS. When you have configured the program, Kongsberg SIS, to compress the KMOL files using FAPEC. In that case, you just need to go to WinFAPEC, go to File and Preferences, and then in Compress and Mode specific options, you can choose the default lossy options that you may wish to apply to your KMOL files when they are generated. We can just deactivate all of the lossy options. In all the cases, you can see that here the warning disappears, and save that like this, save that like this, making sure that this checkbox is activated. And if you run FAPEC again, you don't see any warning. And you can go, for example, to the maritime test file folder and do FAPEC, for example, this side scan sonar, and it will compress that in an automatic default option. And given that there is no warning here, it means that it has been compressed lossless, without any degradation in the quality. You can compare the file that you have recovered, for example, with FAPEC, or storing that in another place, and compare the restored file with the original one, and it will be perfectly identical as zip or WinRAR or whatever other compressor that you may use, like 7-zip or whatever. The other options that you can find here are coming back to WinFAPEC, and the options, I repeat, I was very quick, going to File, preferences, compress, tap, and mode specific options. From Kongsberg Seas, for example, you can go to Kmol, set some soundings lossy compression. This level 3 should be perfectly safe in practically all of the cases, but test that beforehand. Also, you may activate some seabed image lossy degradation, very modest degradation in this case, an amplitude lossy option, and some selective, smart, automatic lossy application of the noise samples that you can have in your fan, in your water column data. You make sure that you have this activated, accept, accept again, and once you run FAPEC from the command line or just run that automatically from Kongsberg Seas, it will apply. Let's do, for example, this 0014 Kmol file, and it will compress that. You see the warning here in some lossy mode that you have selected before. And you can see here that the ratio, the compression ratio, is very interesting, whereas the quality degradation in the data, both in bathymetry and water column, because this file has both integrated, the degradation is pretty modest in most of the cases. I would say barely noticeable in most of the cases. Okay. This is storing the output file. I'm doing that from USB to USB, so of course it's a bit slower than usual. And that would be basically it. I can show you, for example, let's go to the fapec.cfg file. Now, for the Linux and Mac users, I will show you how to change that manually. You can just go here and set 0, 0, and 0 also here. Save that, and you can double check then when doing FAPEC, there's no warning on the lossy compression. So in this case, you make sure that in automatic mode, you are not applying any loss at all for this kind of data. So yeah, it's an option both for Windows, Linux, and Mac users that you can directly edit the FAPEC CFG file. Another use case that you may use in the command line is, for example, doing FAPEC, indicating the output file, and let's do that. For example, my test.fapec, and we are going to compress, for example, all of the Kmol files that we have in this folder, and all of the XTF files that we have here as well. And I think that I also have some WCV file. All right? We click enter, and it's reading from my USB stick, reading all these files, compressing them in lossless mode, because you can see that there is no warning here. You see the progress of the several files being compressed, the speed in each of them, using 4 threads in this case. The ratio achieved for each of them, this is quite equivalent to the case of WinFAPEC. And you see the final summary that we have compressed these 2.8 gigabytes to 1.2 gigabytes. Now we can go to the folder where we have saved this mytest.fapec and do unfapec/list mytest.fapec, and you can access or you can check which files are contained in a given FAPEC archive. And then you can do, for example, I don't know, here in the same folder, you can either uncompress all of the files. It will leave in the same output folder these 5 files that we compressed in this archive, or you can also do /part decompressing just the Kmol files contained in this FAPEC archive, so a partial extraction. It has detected the wildcard correctly, detecting this file contained here, and that's it. We are done. So we have recovered from the command line this original file that was contained in this archive. And I think that's basically it. If you have any questions, just drop us an email. Thank you.